And we're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. We've got some great guests with us tonight. In case you don't know, in case you can't read the screen, we've got Sergio and Shaun with us this evening. It's going to be a really good time. Super excited to chat with them. How's everyone doing tonight?
Super swell. I got my coffee. I'm good to go.
Did you
already drank my cappuccino?
You all are just amazing to be able to. I don't drink either of those things, so I just imagine it's just like smoking meth this late in the day, you know?
Yeah, I usually try not to drink caffeine after lunch. It's a special occasion though, so I did have a Coke Zero before the show.
Heck yeah!
Sergio, I don't know about you, but I feel like maybe I have a problem because caffeine doesn't affect me like it probably.
I could go to sleep right now.
Right? I don't know what that is, and it worries me a little bit.
Yeah, it's like we've built up an immunity to it, just little by little, day after day, year after year.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people choose to do that with snake poison. Some people choose to do it with caffeine. To each their own.
Right.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I already finished mine because I've been sitting here for 30 minutes talking with y'all, and that's all it took for me to finish my cup of coffee.
You've got a very calm demeanor, Sergio, and I respect that.
Yeah, I try to be calm. I mean, I'm also old. Like my 11-year-old, I'll always tell her, I'm like, I'm old, like I'm washed. Your dad's done. She's like, you're not that old. I'm like, I love you and appreciate you, and you are definitely in the will. But yeah.
When you say goodbye to her, you say goodbye forever potentially, because you just don't know.
You never know. I
That's just good parenting,
right?
I was taking a shower, and I was living with some friends at the time, and I slipped and I grabbed onto, like, they have they bought the house from old people, like they were so old that how old were they? Like their kids were like, hey, like, y'all can't be living by yourselves anymore. Like, it's just not safe. And so, but it was like very much like an old person's like house. And so they had like the safety bar on the shower, and I'm like washing like my face. And so like, I can't really see, and I slip. And if and I don't catch a glimpse of that bar and grab onto it, I'm done. Like, that's a wrap. Like, you're not like, Miss Sergio's gone, miss him. But like, 10, 20 years ago, I would have just, landed small of my back first onto the side of the tub and, just kind of like, oh, that sucks. And then
shake it off.
Shake it off. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm definitely feeling some of the mortality of things. Like the last 2 weeks, I've been super working out, and I feel like I overdid it, and my lower back was like, dude, you got to stop. And today was the first day in probably 2 weeks where I'm like, I think I'm back to normal. So I'm going to really pull back on doing 2-a-days. Since I'm 38 going on 39, I should probably not do that, because what am I trying to do? What's that?
That doesn't mean anything. How old's The Rock? He does like 3 or 4-a-days.
Yeah.
How?
But
you're fine, Doug. You're just like The Rock.
Well, okay, that is
just saying.
That was my first thought when the camera started.
Is that The Rock?
Is that The Rock right there?
Did The Rock ask us on his podcast?
The Rock that somehow has a deep neck Mario T-shirt. Like, what's going on with that? This is a shirt that fit me really well when I was heavier, and now it just sort of hangs off me. But I like to wear it because it's comfortable. So you know how it is. The Rock is 16.
Nice shirt.
Thank you.
Doug The Rock Cochran.
Yep. I don't know.
It's got a nice ring to it.
I don't know. Something about that just doesn't sit well with me. Yeah. Sounds like an adult movie star. Doug The Rock Cochran.
You're not wrong.
Driving Miss Daisy crazy.
Yep. I think that's what we're going for. Well, I think we're looking good. I think we're sounding good. Let's get this show on the road. Let's do this. Here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I'm Doug.
I'm Justin.
And we are joined this week by 2 megastars. I'm talking 2 top-notch folks that we're super excited to have here. They have their own podcast called Fandom University, which is amazing. And they're both very talented. One of them has written a book, and we're going to talk about it, and we're super excited to have them here. Please welcome Sergio and Shaun.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Sergio.
I'm Shaun.
So for those of you listening to the audio version of this, this is Sergio's voice.
I think, you know what, that's actually something good. We haven't done that before, and I'm like, that's probably something we should do moving forward is like, for the audio, this is who you're listening to. Say your name, and we're good to go.
There you go.
Thanks for starting a new trend.
Very,
and thank you both for being here.
practically minded.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
of course.
having
Thank
us.
you for having us. Yeah.
Yes, this is super exciting. Like I said, you guys, you have a wonderful podcast called Fandom University, which if you have not checked it out, I highly recommend. I don't want to butcher what it is. I'm going to let you guys explain what it is that you do, but please tell everyone about your podcast.
Shaun and I have been friends for since we were 15, 14, since like
20
freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
So 25 years now, and we've been doing this sort of thing. Like I used to have a tape recorder, like old like full size cassettes that we used to do like improv shows. Like he would come spend the night at my house, and we would make like radio shows, and we would improv like fake commercials and stuff. So we've been idiots for quite a while. So we've always talked about the stuff that we love, which is, you know, comics, sci-fi, fantasy, movies in general. And, you know, we've done several different podcasts over the years. And then we decided to try to make another one. And we're trying to hammer down exactly what we wanted to do. And Shaun's idea was, well, like my problem is I get too hyper fixated on one thing, and that's all I want to do is consume that content for you know, a short amount of time until I burn myself out on it, and then I just move on to the next, you know, subject. So I was like, well, why don't we do something like that? Well, we just talk about something that for 2 or 3 episodes, and, you know, gobble up whatever we can, and then just move on to something else, which you know, it's like might not be the best as far as like
Marketing.
You know, marketing. Like, here's a podcast about everything.
Welcome to our show, which is a podcast about everything. And I got to tell you, we feel the marketing pain there.
Difficult growth. Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, like, you know, we'll do a couple episodes on Aliens. It's like the Aliens franchise, you know, Ripley, Xenomorphs, all that. Then we'll do a couple episodes on the Eternals. And then we'll do 3 episodes on what else have we done? Resident Evil.
Yep.
And so
we just did Scream.
Yeah, we just did Scream. I'm wearing my Scream shirt.
Look at that.
That my wife bought for me. But we Shaun has a MFA from the Iowa Writers Workshop. I have a master's in humanities, and so we tried to talk about, and like through what we've, you know, studied and learned, you know, it's you know, the idea of tropes in genre and subtext and all that kind of you know, there are certain things that we read into the stuff that we consume that we didn't see as, you know, as kids, that we didn't notice. And now, you know, with, like I said, what we've learned and what we've studied, like we can't unsee them. And so like we really dig into like a more like scholarly, scholastic look into like all the dumb stuff that you wouldn't normally think deserve a, you know, scholarly or scholastic view.
I love it. And I got to say, I want to talk about it more in a little bit, but your breakdown of Alien, I love the Alien franchise. So that was a real wonderful journey for me to go through all of that. So
Thank you.
When we get into it more, there's something that was very near happening that I never thought Doug would admit to. So we'll get into that. But I was as soon as he said it, I'm like, I'm gonna have to check this podcast out.
Well, before we go too much further, please tell everyone where they can find you if you want to share your socials, and also where to find the podcast, all that good stuff. Please share anything you'd like to share right now. Shaun, we'll start with you.
Well, I mostly hang out on Twitter. I'm at Shaun Hamill, just all one word. Sergio actually handles the Fandom U podcast social, so I'll kind of let him take over there.
All the hot takes on that Twitter account are mine. No, and my personal is Sergio TX, Sergio with a one instead of an I. But yeah, everything else for the podcast itself is Fandom U Podcast, Fandom U Podcast at gmail.com for email, Fandom U Podcast for Twitter, Linktree / Fandom U Podcast that has a link to everything. So yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Awesome. That's fantastic. And
And I want
Shaun,
to clarify, it's Fandom U, not Phantom U.
Yes, Fandom. Yeah,
Cool. Just making sure for all the listeners, it is Fandom U.
that's right. Thank
should
you,
be
Justin.
Phantom U. Should we change the name of the podcast?
Let's not do that again. That would be our second name change.
We did it all wrong.
Oh no. And
We're going to
Shaun,
change ours to Mind the Gap podcast and
oh Jesus, the amount of
capitalize
times,
and all that.
yeah, nothing's ever been called that. And Shaun, you also have a book as well, correct?
Yeah, I wrote a novel called A Cosmology of Monsters. It came out back in 2019 from Pantheon. The paperback's out now from Vintage Anchor. You can buy it pretty much anywhere you get your books, Barnes & Noble, Amazon. You can actually walk into stores and find it on the shelves in most places, but they can order it if not. I'd appreciate it if you guys checked it out. I just sold my second one that I'm hoping will be out next year.
Oh my gosh.
So maybe we'll get to come back. I'll get to come back and talk about that one.
There you go.
Dude, that's amazing. Congratulations. That's
Thank you so much.
so awesome. That's wow. I can't even fathom that.
Nope.
That's incredible. Please go check out their stuff. It's absolutely worth your time, and we're going to talk more about it in a second. But before we do that, real quick, let's get through some housekeeping. So, first things first, I want to shout out to all the folks who support us on our Patreon, patreon.com/mindgappodcast, to Wolf's Lore, to Richie Armor, to Zinni, to Slotty Bartfast, to Almighty Crit. Thank you all for supporting us. We appreciate you. We love you. If you all feel generous and would like to support us in our endeavors to, make a more high-def sounding fart board, please head over to Patreon, support us, drop us whatever you feel like. We'd appreciate it. Second of all, if you'd like to join the Mind Gap family, we have a Discord. The link is in the YouTube description below or in the show notes. You can find it right there. Head on over, sign on up, join our community. We've got all the great people we talk about all the time. Hang out there. We post memes. We set up game nights. We have a really good time. It's a wonderful place. Please come check it out. Also, if you'd like to support us through our merchandise, please check us out on redbubble.com. Pick yourself up something nice. There's a lot of good stuff to choose from. You got hats, you got shirts, you got hoodies, you got backpacks, whatever you want. Pick yourself up something nice. You deserve it. And of course, we live stream on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/mindgappodcast. Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Central for the podcast. Saturdays at 8 p.m. Central for the video game streams. We had a wonderful video game stream last week we played Pummel Party, which was a real treat. It was a hoot and a half. We had some really great and disturbing shorts that we put out there. So
Learned a lot of stuff about Doug and his mom.
Boy, that was a really fun clip that amazingly in just an hour span got like 1,000 views, and then it just full stop. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about. And I want to say special shout out to Lunchmeat74. Thank you for the subscription, because that screen name, I'm like, that's exactly who we were looking for. So thank you, Lunchmeat74. I'm glad you're aboard. Welcome to the Mind Gap family. We appreciate you. And one final thing. I have an assignment for you. One thing for you to do this week, if you'd be so kind. If you like what we do and you want to support Mind Gap Podcast, do us a favor. Head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/mindgappodcast. Find your favorite video. Could be a full episode. Could be a short. Could be a throwdown. Ask Practical Doug. Find your favorite video and share it on your social media. Do us a solid. Take something that you like from us and share it with the world. We'd appreciate that. If you could do that for us, we'd love you forever. Thank you for your support. And that right there is housekeeping. We're wrapping it up.
Give us to your friends like you gave them the clap.
Bravo.
There
That's
you
how
go.
we do it. That's how we do it. All right. Let's get into the good stuff. So, first things first, I want to say, Shaun, I noticed on your website there was a blurb about your book from Stephen King. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's pretty cool, right?
Holy shit.
Huh?
Yeah, that was an extraordinary piece of good luck that I did not think was going to happen. I don't know Stephen King. I don't know any of his friends or family.
Never read his stuff.
I don't even know who he is. I mean,
Don't know who he is. Apparently, he's a writer of sorts.
He's a fan of mine, I guess. I don't know. I put his fan letter
Join
on
the
the front
club,
of the
am I
book.
right?
No, it was a really neat thing. My book's publicist at Penguin Random House, Abigail Inler, knew Stephen King's publicist. They're actually friends, and she got Stephen King's publicist excited about the book. So she read it and liked it so much, she passed it on to her boss, and he agreed to read it. And I thought, that's as far as it's going to go. This guy gets handed so many books by so many people every single day. But he kept actually for about a week after that, he kept emailing my publicist because he was traveling, and he's like, sorry, it's taking me so long. I'm traveling. I'm still reading it, which I thought was unusual. He didn't have to do that. He's Stephen King. He doesn't have to do anything he doesn't want to do. And then he actually sent the blurb, and I got it while I was at work. I was walking back to my office from the bathroom, and I just saw the Gmail pop up on my phone. It was like Stephen King blurb. And I was just like, holy shit. So I went to my office and I sat down, and I just kind of lost it for a minute. I actually wept for a minute there, which isn't
rightfully so.
Yeah.
That's
in a lot
understandable.
of ways. And it's really been a big help to the book. It's really helped get it in front of a lot more readers than I think it might have otherwise. So it was such a generous thing for him to do, and such a great validation from one of my all-time personal heroes and inspirations. So, basically my life is peaked is what I'm saying. And it's all downhill.
Baby. Obviously joking, Shaun, I said, don't know who he is. That was, as a teenager, I knew who Stephen King was, obviously. He was famous enough to have, passing familiarity. But Shaun was a huge fan. Shaun would talk about his books and recommend them to me. And I'm like, man, I'm going to play video games, readings for squares.
Talk to girls. Yeah.
I wasn't talking to girls then, not in high school. Post high school, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was like,
I was still reading Stephen King, and you were talking to girls. Yeah.
I'm going to go neck with some hottie and make out point.
I'm gonna read.
You can be in your bedroom reading Cujo, loser.
How did you grew up in the 50s? Is that?
I love it. Slutty Barfast says the next one you need to get is R.L. Stein to get a blurb, and then you'll be good. Then you'll be all set to go.
That would be amazing too. I wouldn't say no to that.
Yeah, I was checking out your website, and I saw that, and I was like, holy shit! I mean, Stephen King is. I'm a huge fan of his work. I love, almost everything he's done. It's just so imaginative. So yeah, I can only imagine when you talked about getting that Gmail thing come through. I just started sweating. Just the idea of bing, Stephen King blurb. I'm like, ha! I get that enough when someone's like, yeah, we want to be on your podcast. I'm like, holy shit, why? Why? I mean, I'm thrilled, but why? That's amazing.
That's how I acted when Sergio told us we'd been invited on your podcast.
Well, you're very generous.
So,
Thank you. I did. You're very generous. You're very generous. But that's so amazing. Just kind of the first thing I want to talk about is what's so fucking cool about writing? I've tried to write things. Now let me throttle back on that a little bit. I've thought about writing. I've come up with ideas. My head is a playground of ideas, but getting them out and onto paper is it seems like it's just an impossible task. I'm riddle with doubt. I'm like, I don't know really how to write. I know
a writer to me.
It's I know what
I was gonna say that tracks, man.
I'm like, I know stories. I've watched movies. I've read books. I know the beats, but I don't have any confidence in my writing whatsoever. So I'll get started and I'll write something. I have a lot of things that I've started, and then what'll happen is I'll take a break from it for a really long time, and I'll come back to it. I go, this wasn't bad. Why did I stop? It was because I don't know. Name a reason, and I stopped. I just found a reason to not do it. How do you do that?
Well, okay. So
yeah, I want to know this too because I'm in the same boat.
One of the things I got to teach for a little while I was getting my MFA And one of the things I always told my students, and I really do believe this is true, is that talent is a lot more common than people give it credit for. I think, especially when it comes to writing, with sports or music or acting, like there is a certain age range to kind of make your mark, right? But with writing, it really doesn't matter. I mean, it can help if you're young and good looking, obviously, if there's a pretty photo to put on your book jacket, but it's not a prerequisite to being published. So you can take a long time to develop. And I think that stubbornness is way more important than talent when it comes to finishing and getting things published. I mean, Sergio can tell you, like, before Cosmology, I had a different book that was making the rounds with a different agent, and that book didn't sell. That agent left the business and left that book hanging, so I basically couldn't sell it because it had already been all over town to the wrong editors. I'd also applied to MFA programs right out of college. I didn't get into any of those. But then the second time around, I did get in, and I got into Iowa, and I got another agent, much better agent, and wrote a much better book. And that one got, but I still had trouble finding an agent for that one. But like they would do this thing at my MFA program, for example, where agents and editors, because it's Iowa and it's like this very prestigious program, agents and editors will fly out from New York just to meet the students there.
Holy
because
shit.
Yeah, like it's a program that puts out a lot of like Pulitzer Prize winners and stuff, like people way more talented and famous than I'm ever going to be. I was also in classes with, and I would meet with these agents and try and pitch them on this book. Well, it's about a family running a haunted house, but there's real monsters too. And they're just like, no, thank you. Thank you so much for coming in. No. And it wasn't until like almost the end, all my friends are getting agents, but I just kept showing up. I signed up for every meeting I could get. And, finally I met the right person, and that he is still my agent, Kent Wolf. And he was the one who knew, like he put me through the ringer with Cosmology on edits. Like the book I turned into him was twice the length of the published book. Like we spent a year working on it. And there were times, most days I felt like I was failing every single day. And still the book sold. And I still feel like kind of a failure because like it never hit the bestseller list. It didn't win any awards. I only have 1,800 Twitter followers. Like it doesn't, but at the same time, the book is still selling 2.5 years out. So like, but the goalposts keep moving. Right. And, but the point is, like, I don't get any of that if I give up every time that like one of those things went wrong. And honestly, most days at the page, it feels like it's going wrong too. And it's only like a cumulative, like, basically it's peasant work, right? You got to put your back into it and just shovel shit every single day. And eventually, suddenly you've got a book and it starts to take shape. And if you're lucky, you've got something, So that's a really long answer to your question, I feel like.
Honestly, from some of the stuff I've seen creatively, doing improv, I met a lot of really talented people. Also, I went to Columbia College, Chicago, for music business, which, as you can tell, is working out. But I met a lot of people who were super fucking talented, but they were lazy. Mm-hmm. And that always blew my mind. Where did Sergio go? Why is he off of my screen?
Oh, he's frozen on my screen.
Uh-oh. Yeah, mine too.
I think we lost him. Anyway, he'll come back. They always come back.
Come back to us.
I met a lot of people that were just, unfortunately, like, super talented, but they were lazy. Like, they didn't put in the work. And for some reason, I'm like, oh, like, if you're not talented, then that's it. Like, you got to have the talent, and that's it. And there's a strong. I can't believe I'm bringing this up again, but it's like this book called Strengthsfinders, where it talks about it's not just talent. They compare it to Joe Montana, right? And actually, they use Rudy from our favorite movie we like to talk about in here, which is Rudy from the movie Rudy is trying to play football at Notre Dame. He lacked the natural talent. So if you were to weigh him or give him a score out of 5, he was like a 2 out of 5. But his effort was a 5 out of 5. So if you take the 2 and multiply it by the 5, you get a 10. if you take the same example with Joe Montana, who had the incredible talent and also had the incredible work ethic, it was 5, and a 5, you multiply together, it's a 25, if you were to kind of put that in there together. So talent is definitely important, but having the effort to go along with that is equally important to make sure you can maximize on the talent that's out there. And so, yeah, I find like that's what's speaking to me when you kind of like talking about that sort of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just keep showing up every day and doing the thing, and sooner or later, like if you care enough about it, I mean, and I think a lot of what makes a good writer is, just good. I mean, it's practice, 1, 2, and 2, passion. Like, you have to be interested in what you're doing. You have to be, and I think that, that's part of where the talent comes in, right? Is that ability to see, to think in a certain way. But really, it's mostly about showing up and doing the work, because I've met a lot of writers more talented than me who should be better published than they are, and who may someday still get there, but who just, I guess, weren't as willing to take that punishment as I was. I don't know. Because I would not consider myself a super talented person. I would consider myself a pretty stubborn person.
I think that lends to it, though. I mean, like what both of you were saying is that a little bit of talent and the work ethic or the tenacity can any day of the week beat someone who's got a ton of talent and will not put in the work. And I feel like that if you start with a little talent, I honestly feel that talent can grow past where you started. So like if you look, it's cultivating it. So like if you look at where you started as a writer, you may still think, I'm not as talented as some of that. I bet you're far, far more adept at doing what you do now than when you started, and you're only going to continue to get better at that too. I think that is something that can be cultivated.
Yeah, absolutely. And so yeah, I would say if you're interested in writing, just keep at it. Like, just try and make some time every day if you can, or at least 3 to 5 days a week, and just keep showing up, and give yourself permission to write awfully some days, like, and pick a word count goal and stick to it. I'd say, like, one of my favorite writers, Laird Barron, says he aims for about 400 words a day, which is very doable. I usually shoot for about 1,000, but if I'm not feeling it on the day, I'll like give myself permission to do like 400 or 500. And usually I end up doing more than that, but just by lowering that expectation in my head, I kind of can take the pressure off. Or if I need a day where I just do less, then that's fine. But I would say don't take months off from a project if you can help it, because it'll go cold. It gets harder and harder. It's like going to the gym, right? It's when you've been away for a week, you don't want to go back. You just got to show up.
Yeah. I try to, I have these epic sprawls in my brain. I'm like, why am I doing? Why is this the only thing I think of? Like these just epic journeys. I'm like, good Lord. For me, the goal is put an outline together. Let's start there. Let's just.
Doug has sent me a few of the outlines, and like I say this, they are Tolkien-esque in scale. Like they are gigantic, massive, intricate worlds that he's built. And one of the outlines you sent me was like, it in and of itself was like 10 pages or something. And it was just massive.
Really
but again, it was a great fucking story. All I wanted to do was like sit down and write the fucking thing, because I want to read this.
Yeah.
Stop depriving us of this.
I'm trying, sort of.
Well, and you've also got a little kid,
I have all the excuses in the world not to do it, so I got to try and actually put it out there. That's my only thing, so.
Well, it took Tolkien like 22 years to write Lord of the Rings. Like, it took him a while, and that's pretty much all he wrote, right? He published 4 books in his lifetime, and then his kids, made hay out of his notes for another 40 years after that or whatever. But there's no timeline on this. That's what's great about it. Like, the only timeline is your actual lifespan, right? Like, as long as you're still here, you can keep working on it.
That is a good point. The idea that it's not like, well, I missed my chance. I'm turning 39. That was it. That was my only shot. I
Yeah,
had
it's like,
39
you know,
years to write a book, and now it's done. So
unlike an athlete where there's definitely a physical, like, finite amount of time that you could really like get the most out of what you can do, or even I don't know. I want to like say like like they're talking about Uggo writers, and like the Uggo writers are the best because they're the real quick cave dwellers in the chat. But like you don't unlike like movies or TV or even music, you don't necessarily have to have a good look to be marketable. Like writing is one of those things where Shaun, you're adorable, and I don't
You are
care what
adorable.
anyone says.
I second that.
But yeah, I mean, like
In my pocket.
there's definitely no the age limit or anything like that when it comes to writing. At least I can say. I mean, sure, like there's always going to be like if some like hotshot 23-year-old writes a like I think it was like Emma Klein who wrote like The Girls recently.
Yes. Yeah.
Like debut novel, super like great. So
It's a
like
good
that
book.
sort of thing gets
Yeah.
buzz, but yeah, that's not the same as like like sports or movies.
Well, and
Music.
the other thing too about writers, somebody like Emma Klein, and I don't know her background, but like one of the things I found in my MFA program, where I was one of the older students, is that a lot of those writers who do break out when they're younger come from some form of privilege, right? Like their parents are at least upper middle class, or maybe they're already in academia. Like they have resources that I'm assuming I'm assuming you guys are kind of in the same economic class Sergio and I grew up in, sort of lower middle class, that we didn't necessarily have access to. So it just takes us longer. And I think that there is such an emphasis on youth in the arts that really can put sort of I remember I used to think about the fact Orson Welles made Citizen Kane when he was 24. And so when I turned 25, I thought my life was over. But then I finally published my first book at 36, and yeah, that's later than I would have liked. But when you take into account all the other shit I had to get through to get to the same point as these 23-year-olds I was in class with, like, it's not too bad. I got there. So that's the other thing to remember. Like, I mean, if you were born rich and grew up in publishing and you have a little bit of talent and you still haven't published by the age of 25, like, yeah, maybe take a look at your life and see what you're doing. But like for the rest of us, and I assume most of the people listening to this, like if you want to write, you still got time.
Yeah.
Well, I think too, you can find your audience, right? Like if you're if we're pushing 40, we might not be writing the next great, super relatable YA novel, but
Right.
we might, I don't know, but at the same time, there are people, if you start writing in your 60s, there's an audience of people who share your worldview, who share your experiences, your collective experiences. And you just got to find that audience. Like that's something that Doug and I always talk about with this podcast, is that it's, we're not looking to appeal to everyone. The people who find us entertaining will find us, and those will be the small but mighty fan base that we have. And that's great because they like what we do,
God bless the 13 people that liked that short about the grizzly versus the silverback. God bless you all. And as soon as I put that out there, I saw people liking it. I was like, you are the people we want to find. Because sometimes we put out, content that's a little more serious. I'm like, this isn't really who we are, so don't get too attached to us, just, but that was the one where I was like, you people are our ilk. Come find us. Come subscribe. Be a part of our family because we need you here.
Well, I'm sure you guys. Oh, go ahead, Sergio.
Oh, I was just going to say it's never been easier to find an audience than it is these days, too. That was just the other thing is like, if there is an audience for your work, if your work is good, you will find them and vice versa over time. You just have to give it time. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, I'm sure that's what you guys have found with your podcast too. Like, I'm sure the people who have found you guys are people who share very similar, thought processes and are interested. Like you guys have the people who relate to you, and you found that audience. You found your niche.
Yeah, I think so. Would you agree with that, Sergio?
Yeah, like Slatterbart in the chat says the lunch meat 74s of the world. That's who.
That's who we need.
That's
to find.
who we appeal to. But yeah, like and because of the nature of our podcast, where we're constantly changing subjects and themes, it's it's more so about the thought process behind it, rather than like we're going to do a podcast about the Scream movies, and week in and week out we're going to talk about some different facet of the Scream movies. And so obviously if you're a fan of the Scream movies, you'll probably like the podcast. But instead we only do a couple episodes on those movies, and rather than just appeal to the fans of Scream. Obviously, we want them to listen as well, but we want people who enjoyed, our episodes on aliens, on the xenomorphs, because they enjoy like how we break things down and how we discuss certain topics and themes, and like I said, our thought processes behind them.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point, because there's I love the How Did This Get Made podcast with Paul Scheer, Jason Mantzoukas, and June Diane Raphael, but I don't listen to every episode because I haven't seen all those movies. Like I some of them I'll take a risk on. I'm like, I've never seen this movie. It sounds wild. It should be fun to hear and break it down. But I love it when they do a movie that I have seen, because I'm like, let's tear this shit up. Let's do Face Off. I want to hear what you guys think about Face Off. And
Face Off was great.
Yeah, it's a wild ass movie. For me, I've seen Scream 1, but I haven't seen the rest of the Scream movies. And that movie to me, I remember it was a sensation. Yep. I don't know if I was just too young or what. I'm not super into horror movies either, so I was like, meh. It didn't really affect me. So when people are like, Scream's back, I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like, I mean, whatever. It's a movie. That's cool, I guess, So I was super into your Alien breakdown. I fucking loved all of that. I love the Alien franchise. Like, it's one of my favorite things. And I honestly had just started rewatching Aliens as I was listening to that. So as you were also breaking down like the Aliens movie, I'm like, I just watched it. I know everything you're saying. I get it. It's so cool. And in particular, I'm a big fan of Aliens. Alien 3 is a guilty pleasure of mine. It's one of those ones where like, I know it's not the best, but I still enjoy it, kind of thing. Alien Resurrection, I went to the theater to see that one, and
wait, you feel guilty about liking it?
Not, you know what? I don't know.
Expertly baited them into that, by the way.
Yeah, I know. It was one of those movies where it's like, I think I feel differently about it now, but I remember when it came out, it wasn't like the other ones, and it wasn't until later that I realized all the production problems that happened behind with the numerous scripts, and just the fact that I think, what was it, Fincher got added in like 5 weeks before. He only had like 5 weeks for pre-production, and it was just, I mean, the fact that movie got made and did as well, it looks as good as it is. I mean, that's a miracle that movie got even made under those circumstances. It felt weird. I remember watching it and being like, Hicks and Newt are dead. What?
Like,
spoiler.
Like off muscle. Yeah, I mentioned this in one of the episodes where, for some reason, I got my hands on a Bishop action figure as a kid, because the late 80s and early 90s were a weird time with it. Like, it's like infantilized like these like really adult like IPs. Let's make these for children. These things that are like Rambo and a RoboCop. Like, where a man is brutally murdered and brought back to life and has nightmares because he's like more like he's like an abomination of God, and he shoots a guy in the cock. Let's make that a cartoon
for kids,
But so I had a Bishop action figure, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch Alien 3 and find out like what the deal is with this guy. Find out his character. Oh, he's dead, like, or destroyed in the beginning of the movie. So, and
brought back grotesquely for a single heartbreaking scene.
Yeah, where he basically
asks
like,
for death.
He's like, please shut me down. I don't want to do this anymore.
Like, why did you do this?
I remember those commercials too, very vividly. It was for the aliens, for the xenomorphs, because they would spray water. You could have them soak up, and that with them spitting acid. They would show. I remember a clip from the movie with the alien queen turning and going, ah! And it's like, oh, you can have the thing with the forklift. Like, you can have that. You could. Looking back, I was like, why are you selling these to kids? This is not their movie. What are you doing? Made money.
Oh, that would be like if they made like a Squid Game like action figures, and like which they do, because like like adults,
Yeah.
with disposable income, we buy Funkos and
Yeah.
other toys, like like this little guy that I've got, free
that's
hugs.
awesome.
But these are like in the toy section of Walmart. These are at Toys R Us.
Yeah.
Like these are actively marketed towards children, and like it's baffling. It's kind of like weird. It's like
The 80s
like
and
no
90s were
rules.
wild, man.
Dude, it was
gnarly.
definitely. I love Trav through that goes, what better way to empathize the anti-consumerism of RoboCop than have his action figures.
Right?
Oh my God, so
the
good.
thing that I never thought I'd ever hear Doug relent even in the slightest, but after he listened to your podcast, he comes to me and he goes, they almost turned me on Prometheus.
Yeah.
Prometheus is great.
I saw that movie in the theater and I left very angry. I remember
when
excited.
Doug went to see it, he was so excited and he's like, dude, this is going to be, and he came back and he was about ready to like rage cry.
I was livid.
He was so angry.
I was livid. I felt like I was sold a bill of goods, and it was to me, it was marketed. Everything about the trailer just screamed the first Alien movie. It was just from the music to everything. I was like, and then I watched it. I'm like, what is this? This is not what I was expecting. And I think that was the problem, is my expectations were off. And I was so annoyed because I know Ridley Scott was like, oh, this isn't a prequel. But I was like, bullshit. It is a prequel. Like, he had his foot in both worlds where it's like, it's not really a prequel. I was like, make up your mind, God damn it.
Commit!
Make up your mind, because you got things that are infecting people. There's kind of chest bursters, sort of, but not really. Then there's a facehugger at the end, kind of, and the xenomorph's kind of there, but not really. And it's just like, what do you want this to be? And I was so mad that, the ship and the planet they're on, I'm like, just make it LV-426. Just say, why does it have to be a different planet? Just make it the same one. Connect it together. It doesn't have to be like, no, actually, this is a different one. It's LV-223 or whatever it was. I'm like, no, just make it the same one. Why? You were referencing like that one of the engineers is the one that we see in the first Alien movie that has the chest burster, but it's like, nah, that's not it. That's not that one. I was like, what? I think the expectations that I had going into it were not met. And I left very angry, and I was like, fuck that movie. But after listening to your podcast, I was like, I want to rewatch it now with a little bit more clarity, with a little bit more understanding. And I was this close to buying it for $5. It was on sale on Apple Movies, but I was like, I don't know if I want to own it. I need to watch it again. I don't know if I want to spend $5 on it. I don't know if I want to own it. I want to rewatch it.
I'm going to tell Haig, I got a new gift for you. You should not have said that.
We have a fan who, whenever I rip on something, or if he just buys it for me. Like,
he has a lot of disposable income, and so Doug owns Rampage now, thanks to that.
Yeah, I was just kind of dumping on Rampage. Like, why would you make this movie? This looks insane and dumb. And I'll blow and behold, I get a gift of Rampage that I have yet to watch, but I accepted it. And I was like, it's sitting in my queue, and I will watch it.
Gift. You don't want to be rude.
Well, he spent money on me. I'm gonna accept it. He was like, absolutely, I'll take it. But
yeah, I definitely concede to your point. Like, Ridley Scott definitely wanted to have his cake and eat it too. Like, it's an Alien prequel, but it isn't. He seemed more interested in the ideas rather than like the nuts and bolts of making an Aliens prequel. And but yeah, I could definitely I said this. I think the actual term I use is like mental gymnastics. I can do the mental gymnastics it takes for someone like, I'm going to go in and watch an Aliens prequel and then come out, be like, that wasn't an Aliens prequel. What the fuck was that? But Alien Covenant, on the other hand, is like full blown aliens. Like, I don't know who, as claims to be a fan of that franchise and doesn't like that movie. Like, you're a liar, and possibly a thief. Because you've stolen my time with your
bullshit take.
But yeah, Prometheus is if you go in expecting one thing and then you don't get it, I could definitely understand the hesitancy to buy into it. But I walked in because I have Sean's like really like the Aliens sort of like connoisseur between the two of us. And I was along for the ride. I'm like, yeah, like I'd seen Alien and Aliens. Never saw Alien 3 and didn't see any of the two prequels. So I was like, I really went in with zero expectations, and I found myself like, first of all, like it's just really well made. Like Ridley Scott just knows how to make a movie. I mean, like James Cameron, like I remember when they re-released Titanic for like the 20th or whatever anniversary, went saw it and thinking like, yeah, sure, whatever, it's a date night. I'll appease the significant other, and then like an hour and a half into it, I'm like, this movie's just breezing along. Like this movie's great.
This movie's good. Yeah, I had that exact same experience that year.
But and same like with Prometheus, it's just really well made and paced really well. And like I said, it's more about ideas than anything else, and that's really what we gravitated toward. Is why we both enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I will say, Doug, that I walked out of the theater feeling exactly the same way you did back in 2012. It took me a while to kind of come around on the movie. Sort of, I mean, I had a similar experience journey with Alien 3, where like the first time I saw it, I really didn't like it at all, but like over time I sort of grew an appreciation for it. And I feel like in the last episode of the Alien arc, we had on Sarah Welch Larson, and she wrote this great very short book called Becoming Alien, and she makes a really convincing case for Alien 3 in that book. She makes a convincing case for all the Alien movies, but 3 in particular, like, because when we were rewatching the movies, that was the one that actually I was like, I remember thinking this was better, like, but then I read her book and I was like, okay, no, she resold me that bill of goods.
Sure, absolutely. No, I think that because I'm going back, like, again, distancing myself from it. The idea of it is fascinating. It's like it's the idea of like, where do we come from, right? It's less about this threat of this perfect monster that is just there, and it's everything, the visceral way that it's the egg hatches and lashes onto your face. It's just so aggressive, and I was expecting that. It's like, where do we come from? Is it this thing that disintegrates at the very beginning of the film, but we don't ever reference again? Is that Earth? We don't know. But it's a ripped dude that disintegrates in front of our eyes. And
that dude is yoked.
So yoked.
Cut.
And it's a beautiful film, wonderful acting, all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, story-wise, I was like, make up your goddamn mind. What is this? And again, I want to go back now and revisit it, because I agree with you. Alien Covenant, that's totally an Alien movie. I watched it. I was so depressed when it was done. The ending just really in my gut hit me. I was like, no.
What a gut punch.
Oh,
yeah.
Such a gut punch. And I've been really reluctant to go back and rewatch it because of that. I was like, that's a sad ending. But I did enjoy it because it was 100% an Alien movie. I mean, the trailer was an alien headbutting the goddamn spaceship. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about.
The action in that one, yeah, like it's Ridley Scott. That's the other thing about Prometheus is like it's got a couple of like all-timer scenes, like the C-section scene.
Oh God!
Like as far as just horror filmmaking goes, is one of the scariest things.
It's intense.
Like I've seen that movie like half a dozen times, and every time I'm just like, fists up to my face when that thing starts flopping at her, like after she's got it out. And I also feel like Covenant makes Prometheus better in retrospect. How, for me at least, it helped because it makes David's journey make a little bit more sense. I had trouble getting a read on what he wanted, what he was thinking. And then I feel like they have different writers on Covenant. And I think that helps. And I think Ridley Scott had a better idea of what the story was going to be, or what he wanted to say. And that really, I don't know, it makes it easier to go through Covenant or Prometheus, for me at least, because I have a better idea of like what David's end game is, what his plan is, where like I just his motivations seem all over the place. And now they seem a little more, I can, as to use Sergio's phrase, I can do the mental gymnastics to kind of tell myself he's following, like an actual through line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Like that actually does make it better when you're like, oh, okay, cool. They've actually bridged some gaps here. And that's why I think I need to go back and probably watch them back to back. Like watch them very close together, and I will probably appreciate them as a collective more than separate entities, because there will be because for me, story is everything.
Yeah.
If a story is garbage, it pulls me out. I don't care how beautiful it is. I don't care how well acted it is. I forgive a lot. Or do I, Justin? Hold my feet to the fire. Do I not? Or am I a dick about it? I don't know.
You forgive a lot. You know what? I have not been able to determine what garners your forgiveness. Like your forgiveness is very circumstantial. I don't know what the circumstances are, but there's some that you're just like, fuck that. That was a garbage horseshit move. Da 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 da. But then you're like, Battlefield Earth. I'll watch it again.
What?
Hey guys, that's my guilty pleasure movie. I want you to know that. Now I know.
I've never seen it.
I tell you what, you guys should do a whole episode on it.
Do you feel guilty about liking it?
Here's the thing. I know it's bad. And it's one of those things like if someone were to walk in on me while I was watching it, there would be some shame. They'd be like, what are you watching? I would
Like
turn
if
off
you
the
got
TV.
caught watching porn.
Yeah, I would say this isn't Battlefield
I'd
Earth.
rather be watching porn than Battlefield Earth.
That's what I would say is like, get out of here, I'm watching porn. That's what I would say instead of saying this is Battlefield Earth. Like it is an objectively bad movie. It is not. I learned.
That's Alien John Travolta. You can't fucking fool me.
Oh yeah, right. I learned what a Dutch angle was by watching that movie with a film friend who's like, Jesus Christ, what's with all these Dutch angles? I go, what's the Dutch angle? He goes, watch this next scene. He goes, it's tilted. He goes, every goddamn shot, establishing shot is tilted. He's like, why?
I'm not going to lie. I think a solid 80+% of that movie is shot Dutch. Like I don't understand why. Like,
yeah, I think the tripod just wasn't working or whatever. Whatever they had it on, it was just like the settings were off because
and special thanks to our director of photography. Yeah, it was all I could do. No problem.
I got in a bad accident. My foot and my legs are just a little uneven. It looked good
I
to
thought
me.
it looked great. I don't know.
But
I've never seen it. So.
Visual gags on a podcast were great.
Yeah. No, you guys, I would love for you two to watch it and give me your thoughts on it. It is not a
I'll
good
watch
film.
it.
But
I read the entire book. I
Oh!
forced myself through the entire thing in high school, and that was awful.
yeah.
That took me forever because I thought the movie was going to be good. So when I saw the book in the store, I was like, new sci-fi movie. This is going to be amazing. 1,000 pages. Let's do it. And so I begged my mom and she bought me the book at the grocery store. And what a waste of money for her. And what a waste of time for me.
Yeah.
But good for L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology.
Right?
for
Yeah.
him.
Yay. Way to go. Yeah, I mean,
Dreams come true.
great actors. You got Forrest Whitaker, a Academy Award winning actor. You got Barry Pepper, John Travolta. I mean, there's a slew of people in there, and it is a stinker of a film. But I remember in one of your episodes, you guys mentioned that guilty pleasure films, like they're not a real thing. Like
I don't subscribe to that. I don't feel guilty about anything I like.
He's a sociopath. He doesn't feel guilt at all.
I don't feel any sort of emotions.
There's a very I don't feel any emotions.
No, I mean it's like, yeah, like because I remember like growing up like as like a punk rock kid and like hearing a song on the on the pop station, on the top 40 station, thinking like, that's got a fun little beat to it. Like, no, I can't like that. Like I only got to listen to 3 chords into truth, dag nabbit. And then like I just kind of like that's like, no, I'm gonna like what I like, and I'm too old to like try to put on airs. I've got an entire Taylor Swift wall. For those who want, for those who are listening to the audio podcast, you can't see it.
Look at that.
For those on YouTube,
Tell them what your doormat says.
my doormat is a gift from Shaun and mine's best friend from high school as well. There's the 3 of us. Now my camera doesn't work. The 3 of us are collectively known as the 3 assholes. But it's a doormat that says, "I hope you like Taylor Swift."
Nice.
And
He takes it seriously.
the women who come to clip our dog's toenails because we're bougie like that. Like they like my wife opened the door for them and they're like, well, what if we don't like Taylor Swift? And my wife told them like, well, you're gonna have to talk to my husband about that.
That's amazing. Real quick, what kind of punk rock stuff did you like?
Oh, the usual like Op Ivy, Rancid, everything
Religion.
from like the Clash, Bad Religion. Yeah, I actually saw Bad Religion live for the first time. Like every single time I try to catch them in concert, something would happen. And so I finally saw them a few months ago, like back in October, I think.
That's awesome.
Which was awesome. I mean, like they just stand there. I mean, they're older
They're
than us,
old.
obviously, like 50.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's all they need to do, right? You know, like I sound like the record. I'm fine with that.
I'm good with it. Yeah.
They were.
But yeah, you know, Bad Religion, The Clash, all that, Ramones.
I saw Bad Religion. They opened for Blink-182 when I was 17.
Yeah, that's a concert I did not. I was like, I am not going to that on principle. Like I am not. And to which, and like again, like we like roasted our buddy who was gonna go. Like his girlfriend got them tickets, and we're like, can't believe you're gonna go to that show. Bad Religion, Blink-182 should be opening up for them. You're such a sellout. And he's like, it's a free concert ticket to Bad Religion. Like I was like, I'm gonna go. Like, screw you guys.
I had no idea who they were at the time, and even then, people were like, "You're old," and that was like 20 years ago.
20 years ago, yeah. They were old.
Blink-182 fans.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm a big Blink-182 fan, so yeah, that's. I don't know. Again, I was like, is that my guilty pleasure? Am I not supposed to say that? You know,
I like Blink-182.
I like them. They're the reason why I learned how to play guitar. So, you know, God bless them. Except for Tom DeLonge, that guy can eat shit. A crazy psycho. Anyway,
That's weird. That guy took a left turn.
yeah, he took a left turn. He you know what? I will give him props. He leaned into what he likes, which is aliens. So, you know, good for him.
Sure.
You know, good for him.
And now one of the guys from Alkaline Trio is in Blink-182, which is
Yes, Matt Schuba.
which is weird.
Yeah. It's
Like I remember like growing up listening to Alkaline Trio and thinking like this is the complete opposite of Blink-182.
yeah.
All these songs are about death and drugs and suicide.
Mhm.
And now one of those guys sings about falling in love at the rock show.
It's true. He does. He does. And that's what you call amazing. What do I think
That's
about?
the world we live in.
Drive through this is what I think about Matt Skiba joining Blink. I've enjoyed the albums they put out. I thought it's been good. Both of them, Wolf and Noah, are like, okay, but aliens,
But aliens though.
but aliens, right? So guilty pleasures. So Sergio, you don't believe in them. You like what you like.
No.
You shouldn't feel guilty
I
about what you like.
I don't think you should have to. I mean, just because you like something that's either, you know, knowingly like trite. I don't want to say terrible. I mean, or even if it's terrible, like by most metrics, if you like it. Who cares? You know.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
the
there
world's
another-
literally on fire.
What's that?
Like, you know, we're probably all going to be dead tomorrow. Like, there's a good chance this is a wrap for us. You know,
As a
you know,
species.
thank you for the experiment, but this is all done. You know, goodbye. So yeah, listen to
Enjoy your
Fight
Katy Perry
song by Rachel
Yeah.
Platten. Yeah, listen to Firework.
Yeah.
You know, that song's great. You know,
Firework
just like
lips.
It does.
dude, like show me someone that does not get like hyped to that song at the gym, and I will show you a dead person.
Well, I'll tell you what, too. Placing the right song at the right visual moment. I love a good music placement in a movie, in a trailer, in a commercial. Like that. Like when it's done right, it's
Like when they used
mesmerizing.
Eminem for Assassin's Creed.
Oh,
Like that was just perfect.
I got so mad in the Assassin's Creed trailer, and they had Kanye like playing. I'm like, this.
Oh, what was it, Kanye? I thought it was Eminem.
I think it was Kanye. I don't know.
Was this for the Michael Fassbender movie?
Yes, and it was.
I
Like,
don't remember that.
the first trailer, and I was like, this does not fit with what I'm seeing at all. Get it out of here. Like, don't do that. It's so weird and off-putting. But then there's other times where like the perfect music swells. I'm thinking like off the top of my head, Garden State, like that. So much of the music in that film is phenomenal and just enhances it so well.
The early Wes Anderson movies were really good at that too.
Yes, like just whether it's also like Hans Zimmer bringing in the amazing original soundtrack to Inception or Batman Dark Knight, like most of the stuff that he makes, I'm like, I'm feeling it. He's making me feel the emotions. I love it. And you add, Katy Perry's Firework at the right time in a very compelling moment in a film, I'm going to be on my feet clapping. I'm going to be like, yeah.
Exactly.
You're going to hear me roar. That's a different song, I know, but still, that's all I know.
That one I don't like. That one I'm not a fan of.
Okay, all right.
I am.
I like that song, but yeah, like
Dark Horse
she
is one that I feel like was misproduced. Let's
Yeah.
just talk Katy Perry for a second.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Dark Horse was one that I feel like could have been produced better.
I like the song with Kanye, even though that one isn't too popular. I liked it because it was like it wasn't like typical for top 40 radio. That's I'm a fan of doing something that isn't the norm. Whether it be pop singer making a song that someone like Billie Eilish, like her songs don't really sound like anything that you're going to hear on top 40, or at least didn't 2 years ago.
Right.
I'm sure that you've got like the subsequent copies of a copy of a copy of it now that that sound is hot. But yeah, like anything that's sort of like zigs when you think it's gonna zag, like I'm at least interested in. Like I may not like it, but at least at least you're swinging rather than going for the safe play.
I enjoy the thing now, which is I'm gonna do this song, but it's gonna sound like this genre. I love like what's that one? It's like I can't remember the name of the channel, but they basically were like, we're gonna take this popular song, but we're gonna pretend it's like a 1950s like doo-bop like genre, but applying it to the it's something jukebox. I can't think what it is.
Yes. Oh shit.
I know, it's driving me nuts. I can't think of it. Or there's a lot of
Hero by Foreigner.
Or a lot of
I remember one time Googling Foreigner. I'm like, damn, these guys have a lot of good songs.
Postmodern jukebox. That's what it is. Yep. They do a whole slew of just different like popular songs, but in different genres, which is amazing. I've seen a lot of guys like Alex Melton, who's like, we're gonna do this popular Newfound Glory song, but pretend it's a country song. We're gonna do it like it's country, and I just love hearing. What if Blink-182 wrote, Semi-Charmed Life by Third Eye Blind, and they do it in the exact way, and it sounds like Blink-182 did it. Yeah. I'm like, that is so cool. It's so much fun to just take another spin on it. And I hate country, but hearing like one of my favorite Newfound Glory songs as a country tune, I'm like, God damn it, you're making me like this. How dare you? How dare you make me like this country version of this, you bastard?
So what don't you like about country?
Part of it's where I was raised. It's there's a lot of baggage that goes along with it. A bunch of racist people I grew up with, really liked country. And my dog just busted in. What's up, dog?
Well, yeah, my dog and my wife, all of them been busting in.
What's up, dog? How you doing? Cool. All right. Well, thanks for coming. No? All right. Cool. We're gonna stay. Yeah. I just. And there's my daughter.
Hey, little one.
And there goes my dog. Door's open. Here we go.
No more swearing, guys.
We'll let it out. But I think for me, country, a lot of the typical, where I grew up, the typical topics were like, I got my beer in my Ford F-150, gonna go punch a bull and deliver a calf. I don't know how they go, but it was just, it didn't speak to me at all. It was nothing. It just, I hate a steel guitar. The sound of the it's just like nails on a chalkboard to me. I can't do it. Yeah, just.
Traf Dulu said that your dog heard you're talking shit on country. Like, no, not on my watch. And I, what's great, there's there's nothing you said that's wrong. But there's a lot of really good country that I enjoy. Stuff like even like more contemporary stuff like Casey Musgraves is like fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I like Katelyn Smith, yeah.
Like she's great. Like I listened to her on Prairie Home Companion. Like that's where I discovered her, even though she was already like really popular. But I'm like, I'm not gonna listen to her. She's country. Like the last country artist I remember like really liking was Taylor Swift. And then since then I was kind of like, all right, well let's see what we got going on. There's one, her name is, and I can't remember off the top of my head because we're recording live and that's how that works. Katelyn Smith. Katelyn Smith is utterly fantastic. I would recommend the song Topeka.
Okay.
Or St. Paul. She's awesome. There's a part in Topeka where there's a drop, and then she comes in with the vocals, and it's just kind of like, God damn, she can sing. It's fantastic.
All right. Well, I've got that open in a Google tab right now. I will check that out. So Trav Thurlu also told me to look up the band Lucero, which is also opened in the tab. So I was a huge asshole about music and stuff growing up, where if you didn't like what I liked, I was like, fuck you. Like, I was so just like, get your shit out of my face. It's pop punk or nothing. Like, that's all I was about. And then obviously it's softened as I've gotten older. I have the stuff that I will immediately be drawn to. Like,
Yeah.
a pop punk song, I'm probably gonna be like, oh, what's this? I'll immediately get just pulled in. I've gotten into easycore over the years and just whatever. Like, I have definitely a lane or an area that I head to, but I'm not opposed to listening to other stuff. It won't be my jam necessarily, but I can absolutely appreciate it and be like, that's pretty impressive. I can appreciate the musicianship, or I can do the mental gymnastics to understand why another person would like it. You know,
I think we found the episode title, by the way.
That should have been the name of our podcast. Sergio.
mental gymnastics.
Mental gymnastics.
I love it.
Yeah, the same thing. I may not become a fan of the group or the band or the individual artist, their whole catalog, but there have been multiple occasions where someone's been like, check this track out, and that track has been added to a regular playlist or in rotation on a play. Like, there are certain tracks that I may not like all of Casey Musgrave's stuff, but one or two tracks I may really take to, and it's just, you got to have. I don't understand people who shut themselves off from different kinds of music. Like, there's so much out there, and I agree that you should not feel guilty about what you like. I do subscribe to the concept, the general concept of what guilty pleasure means, but I think when taken in a literal sense, the words, they're meaningless. You shouldn't feel guilty about anything that you like, unless what you like,
is racist or misogynist,
and
or,
maybe you should be feel a little guilty.
don't like feel a little bad, feel really bad if you're into like white power rock or something.
Yeah.
Like, in
Yeah,
that
if
case,
you're like, oh man, I've got a guilty pleasure screwdriver. Well, then you should probably go fuck off.
I'll
your
also
conscience
add
is trying
too
to tell
that
you something.
nowadays there's such access to so much music that whereas, when I was younger, I had the shitty fucking radio at my disposal, which was an alternative rock station, then it turned country. I was like, yay, there goes all my fun, everything that I like. And then there was like a top 40 pop rock place that was garbage, and that's all that I was force fed. So because that just sort of it just magnified how much I disliked it. It was country, pop, bad pop, and or I had a local college station, which was just random shit. Like, you did not get anything consistent, which is a typical thing. So whereas nowadays I'm like, there's so much to go and see and just explore and see what you can find, where I'm definitely much more open. Like, hey, suggest something to me, I'll check it out. Like, I'm much more willing to do that because it's not like just shoved in my face.
Well, yeah, and I mean, when we were younger, like you're mentioning, I think part of being young is being very protective of the things you like because it's an integral part of who you are.
Yes.
But I think it's also like, you only have so much money, which meant you only owned so many CDs.
Yes.
And those CDs were also a part of your personality, because if people are coming over, they're going to want to know what you've got, you know. And so,
the
like,
CD tower, it's like, check out who I am.
Yeah, exactly.
That big book in your
binder. Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I would
In
carry
your
that.
car?
That would come with me to all my sporting events on the bus.
Yes,
I'd be
sir.
like flipping through. You'd be swapping CDs with your friends on the bus. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's part of it too, is there's a certain defensiveness of like, yeah, this is what I spent my money on. Like, whereas now with streaming, you can hear pretty much any single song you want to hear that's ever been recorded, within seconds. So it makes it a little bit easier to have that sort of eclectic taste.
That's a very
I was gonna say, like, I agree that's definitely part of it, but we've talked about this on the show before, whereas on our podcast is there's this very, very much this idea of, it's like, I have a different opinion than you on this piece of art, and you take that as a personal attack. and I'm not sure like why that is. I mean, like I can, I can remember how I felt. I felt that way. Like, like what? Like you don't understand how the Ramones are the greatest band of all time. Like you're an idiot. Like I want to fight you.
I'm gonna take a stand against you.
I'm
This is the hill I die on.
Rumors about you. But my favorite thing to say is like, weird hill to die on, but at least you're dead.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, like you just see it all over on social media. It's like, someone's like, man, I'm really enjoying the Book of Boba Fett. Like, well, you're an idiot because that's not really Star Wars. It's like, it fucking says Star Wars on it. Like,
it's on the can.
It's on Disney Plus, and they own the damn thing. Like, so, I mean, like, if it's not Star Wars, like, someone should make a phone call because like, there's a
someone's gonna do something.
Bootleg going on somewhere.
Pretty sure I saw this character in the second movie that was really. I don't know.
Yeah, like he's like pretty like famous in this whole thing. Like I'm pretty sure this isn't just like fan fiction. But yeah, it's like it's this weird like there's no disconnection between, or very little disconnection between like my thoughts and opinions on something and it not being like it not determining who I am as a person. Like it not making it my entire personality, the things that I like, and it's more difficult as as an adolescent and a young adult, because you really haven't for the most part lived too much. So you kind of haven't figured out like who you want to be. At least I didn't, that was my big problem. I didn't know like what kind of person I wanted to be. All I knew was that like, man, I want to talk about Donnie Darko, and I want to talk about Wes Anderson movies, and I want to talk about Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make for a personality. Come on.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a very practical way of looking at things. Do you like what I did there, Doug?
I loved it.
You got the questions, we got the answers. All you do is ask. Practical, 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 practical. Ask Practical Doug.
Oh, if you've never been here before, welcome. This is the segment we call Ask Practical Doug. Inside of Big Doug, there's a tiny Doug that's called Practical Doug. And Practical Doug drives a lot of what Big Doug does. And our fans like to ask Practical Doug questions. And if you would like to ask him a question, you can submit it via our Discord channel or any of our social medias. Just hashtag Ask Practical Doug, or you can hop on and stream with us and ask us in the live chat. Today's Ask Practical Doug, though, comes from one Mr. Slotty Bartfast. And Slotty Doug would like to know, would you rather become Spider-Man or have $100 million? What's a more practical way to go?
It's a great question. I like to think that if we're talking just long-term investment and comfort, it's a very simple question. It's the $100 million. Because as Spider-Man at my age, what am I going to do as Spider-Man? Like, what am I doing here? Like, I'm getting close to 40. What am I going to do? Go fight? Going to go fight crime? Be a vigilante? There's no way. I would be circumventing the law. I have the responsibility to determine what's right and wrong. And there was also the follow-up question was, if I become Spider-Man, are there also Spider villains? Or am I just Spider-Man by myself, in a world with all these superpowers, just being like, psst, psst, to what end? What am I going to do? Am I going to go out there and Spider-Man can't solve the world's problems, man. Spider-Man can't do that. With $100 million, I probably still can't either, but I can try.
You can solve your problems.
I can. I can turn that over to Wolf of Wall Street, Doug, and invest that money to make more money to then maybe.
I mean, you wouldn't even.
And create an army of Spider-Man.
100 million.
Well, Trev Thulu said
100 million. I mean, that's
100 million.
That's
You can start day
ridiculous.
trading.
I could start day trading with $100 million, right?
Yeah. I'm just
And
saying.
also, is this like Toby Spider-Man? Where he's got the organic webs, or do you need the technical know-how to make the webbing yourself?
That's a great
and
question.
Then you never see him like learning how to swing. I mean, that can't be something that he just like knows how to do like post Spider Bite.
Well, in the Toby
It
movie, the
might
first
be.
time he tries it, he hits a wall, I think.
I think we've
Well,
all
yeah, I
seen
mean-
like the first time any of the Spider-Men, try to do anything, they fail like miserably.
Which is part of what's great about them, yeah.
Yes. So, and does Spider-Man have like healing abilities? Does he regenerate?
Well, that's what I was going to
fast?
bring up. Is his physiology such that if you were Spider-Man, would you be more comfortable in your 39-year-old body as Spider-Man than you are in your normal human body?
I'm gonna say yes to that.
I'm gonna say no.
I'm pretty sure Spider-Man has some, he's got obviously he's more resistant to things, but I feel like he's got some sort of regenerative ability.
I mean, he heals
Hold on.
quicker, doesn't he? Sergio?
No, it goes. He just heals faster than normal, but it's not awesome.
Not like
Yeah, I would say like like
He doesn't
if, like
need-
certain like bumps and bruises, like he'll bounce back quicker. I mean, like you've seen like a spider, like you swat a spider down and it falls to the ground. Like it's good. It's surely it plummeted to its death and then just scampers on.
scurries off.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
we-
doesn't need Neosporin to heal cuts.
I mean, we've seen into the Spider-Verse. The older Peter. He's like, yeah, he's got a stretch. He's got a bad back. He's broken his back. Like, he's been serious. This is the wrong time in my life to become Spider-Man. Like, this is if I don't know how to make webs. I 100% don't know how
You
to
can
do
still
that.
be a writer.
I could still be a
But you
writer,
can't be Spider-Man.
but I can't be Spider-Man. 100%.
Your Spider-Man window is closed.
Absolutely. You don't start this journey being a vigilante as Spider-Man with superpowers at 39 years old. That is a recipe for disaster. That's like Joseph Gordon-Levitt in The Dark Knight Rises just being given all of Batman stuff, like, go be Batman. That guy's going to be dead in like 2 days. He doesn't know how to do anything. He's a dead man. That's exactly what's going to happen to me if I'm Spider-Man. Give me that $100 million.
I would love to see a short film following that character becoming Robin or Batman. I would just it's him in traction in the hospital, just going.
He doesn't even have
I could
Alfred.
do it. Yeah.
I just imagine him like looking at a device. He just presses a button. The fucking thing goes into his face. He's just like, oh God.
He just gasses himself right away.
Yeah.
He's lying,
It's like,
twitching
here's all
in the
this shit.
cave.
There's no instructions. It's all custom made. Good luck.
Right. And I'm sorry, is he going to clean that entire manor by himself?
He doesn't
No.
even have Lucius. He has nothing. He has absolutely nothing at his disposal. Like, he's a dead man. So,
So
Who
the
lives
answer-
under an orphanage, right? Because the house was given to the orphanage.
It's
oh
true.
shit, that's
was-
right.
what do you
I
think
forgot
I-
So
about
he
that
doesn't even
part.
have a house.
Oh man,
He's got a
Okay,
cave.
that
just
sequel
lurking in the
isn't. Yeah, that sequel isn't about Robin, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, taking up the mantle of the Bat. It's a horror movie about the weirdo who lives in the caves underneath the orphanage.
Right?
Who thinks he's helping?
Who's been injured, but he can't get out. So he just moans and crawls around. And
Right.
the kids are like, what's down there? It's just, help me. Yeah, it's the
oh
best.
man, I want to see this film now.
Yep.
Well, wonderful. I would love to ask the practical side of our guests as well. What's the correct answer here?
$100 million easy.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
I
That's
mean,
what I'm
while it would be, while it would be dope, it would be awesome to be Spider-Man. That's
Yeah.
not practical.
Yeah,
Having $100 million. You know what also would be dope? Like having $100 million.
yeah, right.
That is the practical.
Also, am I going to be
You're right.
Spider-Man out in the suburbs of Chicago? What the fuck am I going to be swinging on?
all I'm saying is you don't have to
Jogging.
be in this reality. If you are just becoming Spider-Man, you don't have spider villains. So I would say how I would spin it, pun intended, is you take that and you make yourself you put an act together. You could become some sort of like there's so many you make yourself famous, you become the celebrity that's worth way more than $100 million.
Think of what it could do for the podcast.
Who gets it? I
Yeah,
knew it.
visual stuff on an audio medium.
Yeah, Doug just sits there, the whole podcast is going, and Justin's doing backflips again.
There it goes.
He backflipped. one more
Justin
time.
is
Oh,
hanging
thought he
from the
was gonna miss that
ceiling
one.
and recording from the ceiling. He's on the
But
wall.
as usual, he did not miss.
Yep. Yeah.
Super fun stuff.
Yeah. Great stuff. And you just see him go swing by on the camera. What I gonna do? Yeah, to me it'd be like the part where in Spider-Man where he runs on the golf course and goes psst, and shoots his weapon. That's what it's like for me out in the suburbs.
Yeah.
I guess I could drive into the city to do park my car and then be Spider-Man. Like,
Ada Park.
yeah, no, $100 million.
Fair enough. That is the correct answer, by the way. So well done, everyone. Well done.
Yay!
Cool. Well, that brings us to everyone's favorite moment in the show.
Welcome to the Throwdown.
Woo!
We made it.
All right, it's
We made it
time.
here.
It's time for the Throwdown, where we put two things into a fictitious arena, and we make them fight to the death, and we decide who will come out victorious. Justin seems perplexed by what we're about to embark on. Our Council of Elders.
One thing I've never done before, and another one I abandoned midway through. So here we go, Doug.
This week's Throwdown is Tracer from Overwatch versus number 5 from Umbrella Academy.
Which one's number 5?
He's the guy that can time travel.
The one after number
Oh, the
4.
kid,
Yes.
In love with the mannequin, yeah.
Yes.
the emo child.
I mean, they're all emo children, but, you know.
That is very emo family.
Well, they're emo adults. He's an actual emo child.
Very true. It's like, yeah, they're all children. No, he's like the only real, actual child. So this is interesting because they can both sort of teleport, and they can,
We do have a request for an ad hoc, for a real quick calling an audible here. Shaun and Sergio fight. In the chat
this would
wants
be a good one.
that to happen.
Wait, the two of us, one of us has to die?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, is this to the death?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because that could change my strategy. I would say Shaun wins out because I would let him kill me and let him live with that guilt for the rest of his life,
It's the long game.
knowing that it would destroy him.
Wow. That's some chess level shit right there.
Yeah, but what you don't know is that a best-selling novel comes out of that experience.
and then I have $100 million.
Bingo.
And I
he
bring you
becomes
back to
Spider-Man.
life.
And it's as hideous as Alien 3. As
Yeah.
big as Alien 3.
It's like an alien resurrection when you find the room full of Ripley's.
Yeah.
And you're just like,
Sergio's.
kill me!
Kill
Yeah.
me.
Sergio 6.
Yeah. Sergio 6. It's like, why are you
I'm
calling
like,
Sergio
you don't
6?
need to worry about this room.
Don't go in here. $100
Don't
million
go in there.
get you a lot. It gets you 6 Sergios.
All right, Dougie, what do we got here?
All right. I will since you are not 100% not familiar with Tracer, I'll break down Tracer here. So
Great.
Tracer is a tier 9A for whatever the hell that means. She is superhuman physical characteristics. She's an expert markswoman. Are you both familiar with Overwatch, by the way? No?
No.
Okay. So she is kind of like the character that was on like a lot of the marketing campaigns. She has this device in her chest. There's a situation where she could not control herself from phasing out of time until someone like gave her this device, so she can like sort of blink and teleport around. She has dual pistols, which she shoots at very rapidly. She's a very fast and quick, very cheerful British person. Like, cheers, love, the cavalry's here. That's kind of like her.
Horrible.
Wasn't it great?
It's horrendous. That's a nightmare.
Cheers, love, the cavalry's here. I'll save you. The world needs more heroes. That's a perfect Tracer. Perfect. So she's
This
skilled.
is a popular game?
It's a very popular game. With that amazing voice acting
I can
done
see
by
why.
me, you know. Winston, it's me, Tracer. So she's a skilled fighter pilot. She has time manipulation, so she can blink and teleport, but she can also reverse time for a few seconds to like reverse herself back, which is kind of cool. Energy projection, teleportation, explosion manipulation. She has a pulse bomb she can throw out, so pretty good. Her attack potency is relatively, it's small building level. I don't know what these categories mean. I say this every week. I read them. I just go like, what's small building mean? What's small building level? She can affect heavily armored characters. Okay, cool. Speed subsonic on her own with hypersonic reactions and combat speed. Okay. She's not super strong. Stamina, range, blah, blah, intelligence. She's one of the most famous and proactive agents. She's a fearless combatant, skilled markswoman, weaving in and out of enemy lines, Yada, yada, yada. Cool. Tracer can be reckless and overly playful at times. The chronal accelerator takes time to recharge. Should it be somehow damaged, Tracer will phase out of corporeal. Is it corporeal or corporeal existence? I don't know how you say that.
I always said corporeal, but I don't
There
know
you
if that's right.
You're the writer. It's corporeal existence. Should the chronal accelerator be damaged beyond repair? So, and her pulse pistols are tied to that accelerator, so that is her weakness.
Ooh.
And that is kind of who she is in a nutshell. Justin, what about
Number 5?
Number 5.
Tier 9C. That is 9C.
Bingo.
Because it's on here twice. Let's see. Age 58, but 13 physically. Powers and abilities. Oh, we've got to do 2 different seasons. Same as before, but with improved time travel. Limited. Fuck you. All right. Season 1. Peak human physical characteristics. Cool. Was it A causality, martial arts, weapon mastery, high survival skills, teleportation, and time travel. His attack potency, street leveled, overpowered a squad of trained soldiers and can snap necks with his bare hands. Speed is supersonic, can react and teleport away from an assault rifle fired at close range. Lifting strength, average human. Striking strength, street class, plays by street rules. Durability, street level. Stamina, above average. Nice. Range, standard melee range. Several meters with teleportation. Standard equipment, none. Intelligence, he's a genius, or likely a genius. Never got to take the SATs. Mathematically calculated a feasible method to travel backwards in time using his powers. His weakness, though, cannot reliably travel back in time without using the briefcase. Is emotionally invested to a mannequin, which he's named Dolores, and is fatigued by teleporting multiple times in a short duration. Yeah. So that's him.
So my initial thoughts are, powers-wise, they're pretty similar as far as what they can do. Although I will say I think Tracer has the advantage because as long as her chronal accelerator is going, she can just sort of blink continuously with a small recharge. Like that's not based on her stamina, so to speak. Whereas it seems like if number 5 tries to continuously jump back in time or do stuff, it could be tiring. Although in season 1, you do see him basically eradicate a bunch of professional assassins just very easily, like with no trouble whatsoever. So he's definitely very skilled.
I mean, I feel like it's a little unfair, right? Because a video game character is by nature designed to be fun to be, right? Usually.
Yes.
And tends to be overpowered because you get to feel like you're special in this other world and better than other things. Whereas the characters in Umbrella Academy, their powers are more like curses.
Yes.
And they're just absolutely miserable sons of bitches to a T. So it's almost not even like a fair fight, really, because one is like just an absolute God spilled a person, and then the other one is like a god. I don't know. I mean, that's how I'm reading it without being overly familiar with either franchise.
Sure.
I haven't seen all of Umbrella Academy.
What do you think, Sergio?
Yeah, like I'm gonna have to agree with Shaun. Like, you know, like the cast of Umbrella Academy, you know, they're miserable and they kind of hate themselves and they're kind of screw ups because you know if they sort of they're doing, you know, what they were essentially raised to do in any sort of proper fashion, they wouldn't, you know, be separated like they are at the beginning of the show. And then whereas Tracer sounds like she's a badass, you know, and
Oh no.
Oh no.
No!
It's being
character
made.
too.
There he is. No, he's nope.
Here I am. Did you lose me?
I think
Yeah.
Yes.
I go with Tracer.
Okay.
I had a really amazing argument.
Yeah.
Like it was so profound and so well spoken and articulate, and now it's lost to the ether. I go with
Like
Tracer
Tears in the Rain.
because Tracer just like tears in the fucking rain, my guy. That's an arc we need to do. Blade Runner, my goodness.
My initial thought is if Tracer wins in the short term, meaning if she reacts fastest, I think she get the jump on number 5. However, I think given enough time in the fight, number 5 will figure out that the chronal accelerator is her weakness. And I think if he attacks that and damages it, Tracer is screwed, because at that point she loses all of her power, she loses her ability to use her pistols, and she's dead in the water. So if she can react quickly and just, blast him right away and he doesn't know what to do or how to handle it, I think he's screwed. But I think he's smart enough to figure out where it's coming from, and he can dismantle her if that's the case. So also, I think number 5 is way more cynical, obviously. Whereas I think Tracer's much more like, she's a hero, Cheers, love! The cavalry's here! She's there to, inspire that stuff. So I also could see number 5.
Not happy.
I think that he could possibly exploit that in the initial fight and just sort of maybe analyze her. Actually, I think I'm going to give it to number 5. I think that's what I'm going to do.
You made a good point, I gotta say.
I just feel like Tracer, her whole shtick is that she does react that quick, right? Like she's like boom, 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 boom. His whole thing is he can teleport, but she's super fucking quick, right? So if they're battling, unless he can teleport backwards or forwards in time, like because his whole thing, he's not quick, right? He teleports,
Correct.
right? So teleportation and time travel. So can he teleport from point A to point B?
I think so, and that's what Tracer can do.
Okay.
So their
So he
powers
doesn't
are
have, like,
similar.
Okay.
His limitation is that it's endurance based. Hers is technology based.
Well, also hers, he's melee. She's got pistols.
True.
That's the thing. Like if they're both hopping around and she can keep the distance between them.
But the thing is, he's eliminated a bunch of highly trained agents in a diner, like at close range.
Right, but
They
none of
can't
those
teleport.
agents could also teleport.
That's true. They also didn't know what was going on. So
Right. If the two of them are going at it, if they're engaged in a fight, Tracer, as nice as she is, hero as she is, she still kills people.
Yeah.
For sport.
But again, I think it's a
Who
matter
among
of.
us?
I think it's all in how fast can he figure out? Can number 5 figure out what's going on with Tracer? If he doesn't, he's screwed. If he does, I think he wins. So, and I don't know. I'm just going to put
Noah's saying he is by the numbers faster than her. Is that because he's 9C? I don't understand that. He can react to assault rifle fire at close range.
She can keep up with Genji, who is a ninja, like a cyber ninja. So, yeah, she is incredibly fast. I am just going to put my weight on the fact that I feel like number 5 is smart enough to understand what's going on, and he's still able to match, I think, her to a certain degree of what she's doing, and he will figure it out, and he will disable her. I think that's what it is. And I think
even with those pistols,
I think his
over Braun.
Okay.
his cynical nature, his bastardly nature, his ruthlessness is actually going to tip in his favor, because he is going to be there to kill. Whereas obviously if they're throwing an arena, they know what's going on. I think Tracer's playful nature will actually put her at a disadvantage, and I think number 5 will win.
Wait, hold on. Let me just look back one more time at number 5's.
Where are you guys getting these numbers from, by the way?
We just know them, apparently.
It's from an amazing site called versusbattles.fandom.com.
Ah, okay.
And these are linked to us right before we go into the Throwdown, so we get to go and look at this sort of stuff. And it's...
Well, here's the thing, too. He is fatigued by teleporting multiple times in a short duration. Is she fatigued?
Hers is...
Or does she...
She has... In the game, as
it
it plays, she has a certain number of jumps she can make before they recharge, but they do recharge. But it's purely based on the technology that she has. They will indefinitely recharge. She can do a certain amount, in a certain amount of time, but,
All right, I'm calling it. Number 5 for the win!
Yeah! That's as definitive as it gets right there, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go. You heard it.
R.I.P. Tracer.
R.I.P. Tracer.
Ultimate rips.
That was so much fun, guys. Thank you so much for this. This was incredible. This is the part of the show where we want to essentially, if you have anything that you're watching, that you're reading, that, music that you're listening to that you think our listeners, our viewers should check out, by all means recommend to them. If it's, anything you got going on, please, Sergio, we'll start with you. What do you recommend?
Well, I did a huge disservice to a very good friend of mine, who does the Fumbling 4 podcast. In the plugs, I am also the co-host of the Dungeons and Dragons Lorecast, where we talk about D&D every week. So what I just watched the first 3 episodes of the Legends of Vox Machina.
Yes,
which is the animated series. It's behind, it's the same folks that behind Critical Role, and the characters from their first campaign, from their first season, they've now started a cartoon that's not very much adult based, very much for the adults, not for the children. But it's on Amazon Prime, and it's a lot of fun. It's never in my wildest dreams that I think I would see another cartoon based on Dungeons and Dragons on TV.
I've also watched the first 3 episodes, and they were fun. I'm looking forward to see.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun, and I'm not expecting anything to genre shattering, world breaking. If I watch it for 30 minutes and I feel like I had a good time, then it was worth watching.
Agreed. No guilty pleasures there.
No guilt, no fear, no happiness, no joy, no emotions.
Nothing
at all.
Sociopath. Yeah.
And by the way,
I'm like the Russian from Rocky IV, but short and out of shape.
There you go. I like it.
And dumb, because Dolph Lundgren's actually a genius.
He is. Very smart guy.
It's crazy. Like, how is that fair? Like, you look like that and you're like a rocket scientist?
Like, what the fuck?
Like, somebody stole some extra ingredients when they were mixing up old.
He
Dolph
rolled well
Lundgren.
in his stats,
Dude,
He really did.
It's like, oh, look, 3 6s. 3 more 6s. Like, oh, no, these dice are weighted. Something's
That's crazy.
going on.
Which, by the way, I want to say, Sergio, you were very wonderful to listen to, and the Fumbling 4 and the Almighty Crit, your character was delightful. So thank you for being awesome.
Oh, yeah, that's his name is, going back to Tolkien. That's an old joke that Shaun and our aforementioned friend Daryl made in high school was J.R.R. Tolkien. What does that stand for? And one of us goes, "Oh, Jimmy really rad."
C.S. Lewis was cool stud.
Cool stud Lewis.
Cool stuff, Lewis.
But they had these frat names.
Oh, I love it.
Yes.
Yo, Jimmy, really rad. What's up, bro?
When they played beer pong together at Cambridge.
Yeah, and just talk theology.
Right.
That's right.
Like Tolkien's what if all these, legends are true?
Nailed it. Drink.
No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make up a whole language.
I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make 4 languages.
Do you know what elves are? Because I'm about to explain it to you, bro.
You better sit down. It's gonna take a
Sit
while.
down for this one. It's gonna be a while.
That's awesome. That's very cool. Shaun, what do you got to recommend?
So I just started. This isn't the newest thing, but it's the newest thing that I'm currently consuming. It's a fantasy novel by Naomi Novik. It's called A Deadly Education, and it's sort of I guess modern or contemporary fantasy. I think I'd put it in the same category with something like The Magicians by Lev Grossman. It's set at a magical school, but most of the students die because because all these magical kids are sort of concentrated in one place and there's no adults there. The school sort of runs automatically. So it basically kidnaps children from around the world and they just have to learn or die. And all these monsters are sort of attracted to all that energy. And basically it's just about this girl trying to survive, getting through all that. And just the different class systems. So if you're a rich kid, you come to school with a lot more magic stored up. Whereas if, you just get pulled off out of the suburbs, you've got nothing and start from scratch. It's really, really good. It's the first of a trilogy. I'm only about halfway through it, but if you're into fantasy, I highly recommend it.
It sounds like it could be amazing anime. That's what it sounds like. He described an anime show.
Yeah, I mean, I would make a very good show, I think. And I think the third book comes out this year, so I'm
Very
really
cool.
excited. I won't have to wait very long.
That's awesome. That's a really cool recommendation. I love it. Justin, what do you got?
I mean, besides recommending the Fandom U podcast, I would also recommend.
Oh, you getting fresh?
You're welcome. I would also recommend the Fumbling Four, the Almighty Crit. We just did a guest spot on their podcast, and Sergio, again, like Doug said, in prep for that, I listened to the last 2 episodes of season 1. And in the last episode, Jimmy Really Rad came back and instantly favorite character. Thought the delivery, the role play was fucking amazing. So I thoroughly enjoyed your character, as I enjoyed all of the characters on there. But yours stuck out to me quite a bit. So well done on that. And I would recommend everyone go check out. It's a very, very friendly way to get into D&D. If you've wondered what it is, go listen to this podcast.
Yes. Justin got his first taste of it, and we had a really good time doing guest spots on there, and we'll let you know when that comes out. Should be coming out soon. Super exciting. I recommend, I just rewatched It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, and God damn it. I love it. It's one of my favorite books, favorite stories, and I think they did a really good job with those movies. Second one isn't as strong as the first one, but still together, solid movies, really great depiction of Pennywise, and just, man, it was just, I really enjoyed it while I was walking on the treadmill. I was like, and I was watching it before I went to bed one night. Jill's like, Jesus Christ, this is what you're going to go to sleep to? I'm like, yes, because I love it.
This is my comfort food.
This is what puts me to sleep, is watching this clown terrorize a town in Maine. So yes, thank you very much. But if you haven't checked it out, It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, I think they're solid. I think they're great films. You should check them out. And that's...
My wife consumes by the gallon full true crime podcasts and true crime reality TV, and I'll be like playing something on my computer, and I'll just overhear like, and then that's when they found the 4 bodies. Like, what the fuck are you watching? She's like, oh, it's a good one.
It's great.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. We don't know what happened to him yet. We're going to find out. They're going to do the DNA swaps. It'll be great. It's going to be amazing. Well, again, thank you both for coming in and hanging out with us. This was such a wonderful conversation. I definitely want to have you guys back. I feel like we just were scratching the surface. There's so much more I want to talk about. So we'll definitely have to have you guys come back sometime and do that sort of stuff. So one more time, please let everyone know where they can find you online, where to follow.
Yeah, well, for the podcast, Fandom U Podcast. That's FANDOMU Podcast. Linktree, Twitter, Gmail. That's how you'll be able to find that. My personal Twitter account, which is my inane political ramblings and wrestling tweets, pro wrestling tweets, is SERG10TX. And then also the D&D Lorecast, the letters D and D Lorecast on Twitter, as well as Gmail.
Awesome. And Shaun, where can they find you?
I'm at Shaun Hamill, so ShaunHamill on Twitter. You can also, my link tree is in the bio, so you can find all my other stuff there. But you can also visit my website, ShaunHamill.com. It's got all my links and links to buy my book if you're interested. So yeah, I hope some of you will check it out.
Awesome. Very good. And please, if you all check us out on all our social medias at MindGap Podcast, and don't forget to check us out on YouTube. If you like what you're seeing there, hit the like button. Please subscribe. It would mean the world to us. And don't forget to check us out on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Central for live recordings of the podcast, and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Central for a video game live stream hosted by yours truly. And please don't forget to check out Justin online as well.
On Instagram and Twitter at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it. And while you're in the online realm, anywhere where you can find podcasts, you can find us. So go ahead and do all the things we ask you to do every week, share and subscribe and all those things. And then 2east8th.com/mindgap. And then just keep an eye on all of 2 East 8th stuff. Do not forget that on February 8th, Tuesday, February 8th, we are premiering The Life and Debt of a Liberal Arts Major, our newest short film. The trailer is out now, so go to Two E State's YouTube page. You can check out the trailer.
Our family watched it tonight, Justin. All of us.
Ooh.
And Jill's like, is he going to go rob a bank? I'm like, you got to watch the movie.
I'm curious what your 5-year-old's take was on the trailer. Did she get it? Did she like it?
She wasn't paying attention.
Oh, man.
Yeah, she wasn't paying
Oh,
attention.
I'm sad.
She didn't care. But
She said it's a guilty pleasure.
yeah, she's like, this seems like a guilty pleasure, Dad. I was like, that's my girl. That's right. Hang on to that guilt. That being said, again, Sergio and Shaun, thank you so much. You guys are amazing. This was a wonderful conversation. So happy to have you here with us.
Thanks for having
Thanks
us.
for having us. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And with that, I say, Justin, thank you.
Douglas, thank you.
Chat, thank you.
Listeners, thank you.
And you all have a dandy fucking week. And that's the show. We did it.
You realize that there was a single fart in this episode.
Right? I don't know if that's out of
Not
respect.
that you could hear.
Well, totally fair.
I don't know if that was out of respect or if that was just, I don't know, a
It
detriment.
just didn't call for it.
Yeah.
Farts weren't necessary.
All right. I think that's the thing is it's got to feel
Organic.
right. It's got to be organic.
Right. You got to be a free range fart. You can't shoehorn that fart in there.
That's right. Draft through Lucas goes fart noises. That's so good. Well, this was so much chat, man. You guys were great. I feel bad because Trev Thurlow asked a great question early on, which we didn't get a chance to answer. Which it was something about editing. Let me see if I can find it real quick because I really
So yeah, something about the editing process, how
Yeah.
difficult that was to pare it down.
Yeah. Shaun, how hard was the initial editing process? Did you find it stressful to cut or shorten what you first put to the page?
That a word? Yes. Yeah. It was. I mean, it took about a year to get it from 200 down to 100,000, but the book is so much better at that length. It gave me a real appreciation for economy in storytelling, at least in my own. So it's always a painful process, but I thought it was a very productive process, and what is in stores now is so much cooler and better than what I originally had in mind. So I feel like it was worth it.
That's awesome.
I remember Shaun telling me that the initial draft, the entire first part was about the parents, and almost all of that gets cut.
Mm-hmm.
Which I like. There's something to be said for allowing the mystery to be there. We talked about this I think in the our last episode where Donnie Darko came out and we just fell in love with it. We're 18, we'd never seen anything like it, and it doesn't explain everything for sure. And so we just spent hours pontificating and theorizing what the movie meant. And then they released the director's cut in theaters, and we drive to Dallas to watch it, and we're all excited, and we come out that was
Because it explained
dumb.
everything, yeah. And the explanations were not good.
Oh, isn't that the worst?
Yeah.
When you have the mystery that all of a sudden it gets over-explained and you're like, yeah.
And so, I like the idea that, there is a story there to be told, but it wasn't the time or place within, the format of the book, maybe a short story later on, novella of some sorts, but there's I felt it would have really, and obviously I was right, it would have hurt the pacing of the book.
Yeah, that's the other thing that the editing did. The book, I feel like
Crazy.
it moves along at a really good clip, and that was the work of a lot of editing and back and forth about what's slowing it down, what's what's too much. And it's a constant tug of war between what you need the reader to know and what the reader's actually interested in reading about, right?
Yeah.
And that's the tough thing about a fantasy, I think, and why the epic fantasy in particular can be such a tough one to tackle, and why those books are so long.
Yeah.
So much world building has to go into them. And I was lucky that my little horror novel did not need as much explanation as Tolkien's world did. So we could trim things out and leave things mysterious, but still tell the story and have it be, coherent.
Yeah, for sure. That's so cool. God, you guys, you're so much fun to talk to, and the chat's awesome. I mean, Trav Thulu, Wolf's Blood, Noah, Crit, We've got Slotty.
Slatterbart,
Yes.
Slotty.
Slotty. All those, all you guys are great. Thank you for tuning in. And for the
Noah.
people that are lurking, we also appreciate you as well. Thank you so much. This was a great time. So tune in Saturday, 8 p.m. Central. We're doing some Tabletop Simulator, probably playing some Uno. Maybe playing some, what's it called? A Nomi? There's a new game that I was introduced to, which is a goddamn shit show. It's so much fun. I believe Anomi is like the word that means it's on the tip of your tongue, and that's exactly what the game is based around, is you trying to quickly say something before someone else does, and you're like, nah, and the first person to say it wins, and it was a lot of fun. So I was terrible the first game. I think I got 1 point, and the winner got like 16. The second game I won. So fast learner. I also had easier things to guess, but it was fun. My favorite thing is I had to quickly say a unit of volume. Like a measurement of volume, and I was like, meters, and they're like, that doesn't measure volume. And I was like, damn it. I go, what measures volume? I just felt really dumb in the moment. They're like, I don't know.
Parsecs.
Liter. Is that distance or volume? Who knows? Yeah, it was fun.
Not George Lucas.
Yeah, he doesn't know. He doesn't know shit.
He took that ignorance right to the bank.
God damn it,
Yeah.
he did.
I'm sure he's like really messed up about that one.
He's in therapy right now. Like, they're still making fun of me. You know?
God damn it. I'll just wipe my nose with these $500 bills because I invented them because that's how much money I have. What is this? McDonald's. What is this? Monopoly? Anyway, tune in for Saturday. We're going to have a good time. We'll have a really good time playing that. That'll be great. And then we'll be back next Monday. We'll be recording. We're coming in a day early for scheduling stuff. So tune in for that. But until next time, thank you all for hanging out with us. And we'll see you on Saturday.
Ta-ta.
Bye, chat.